Okay, welcome everyone to tonight's training session. Tonight we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about the next steps. So following on from last week's, where I was talking about the wellness consultation, so we've gone through all the major steps, the basic steps in the doTERRA business. So now we're going to address what happens next. Okay, so first of all, as always, a little bit of accountability from last week. So I asked you to go on and learn your LRP and to practice teaching it, because that's something you really want to be able to do in a very succinct and simple way. If you still want help with that, then go on to doTERRA University. There's some really good, simple videos to watch about that. I asked you to make sure you're confident with the basics of the back office. So after watching Nathan's training, hopefully you are. And anything else again on doTERRA University, some good videos. And then to please carry out wellness consultations with all of those who need it. And to call any on your team who have been enrolled for more than a month as part of the continuing customer services. Okay. So you've done your wellness consultation, and as far as you possibly can, you're going to have deduced whether they're a user, a sharer, or a builder. So you do this by inviting them to be an LRP user, and some people might not, so don't worry, but we definitely bring that up every single consultation. And then you've asked if they'd like to host a class, and then you've also asked them if they'd like to learn about the business. So what do you do next? So let's say that they've said they would like to host a class. So what are the next steps you're going to do with that? Well, obviously you're going to then set a date with them, and you're going to ask them to invite at least 10 people. I'd recommend saying to ask about 15 people, because then you'll get about 5-ish people coming to the class. So, and then you want to incentivize them again and thank them by saying you'd like to offer them a gift. Now, if somebody's just a user and they're going to host a class for you, then I generally offer a wild orange or perhaps another small and simple gift. Then I'll offer them some more perhaps on the night, but I won't make any promises with that, because it sounds to me a bit too businessy if you say to someone, I'll give you some more gifts depending on how many people sign up. But you might like that approach. So again, it's a very personal thing, but that's what I do. Okay, now if you suspect, and it is quite hard at the very beginning, but if you think they're going to be more of a sharer rather than just a user that's hosting a class. So what I mean by that is someone that you think may host a few more classes in the future and maybe wanting to do the business at a very kind of slow pace. So that's a sharer, someone that's going to be spending about 5 hours a week on doing the doTERRA business. So in that situation, you might like to offer them half or even all of the fast start money that you make from that evening. And that will help show that sharer the reason why they perhaps want to host some more classes and incentivize them more. Now, a step further then, if you think this sharer is actually going to be a slow builder, so is going to be willing to do all the steps a builder does, so they're going to be willing to do wellness consultations, they'll do some training in the business, and they'll actually assist training others that might sign up underneath them, then I would actually talk to them about giving them the enrollment. And that's kind of how you help to turn a sharer into a builder. Okay, so what happens then at the wellness consultation if somebody says to you, yeah, I would like to know more about the business? So what are you going to share with them? Now, we're going to take you through a few steps here, and what we want you to do is we've kind of included all the steps that would be good to share with somebody, but really kind of pick and choose and don't feel like you have to share everything that we're going to talk about now. It really depends on the level of interest of that builder. So if someone really just wants to hear a little bit, then obviously you just do a summary of what we're going to say. But if someone's really keen and they want to know what this business is, and then that will help them make their decision, then you want to cover pretty much all of the stuff that we're going to show you. So personalize it for each situation. So what you're going to do, you're not going to go on and speak about it right there and then at the wellness consultation, because that's too much information in one go. So what you want to do is invite them if you have intro to business classes. Now the likelihood is that your upline probably doesn't even have these yet, but as we'll get bigger, then that will probably be more relevant. So probably what's going to happen is you're going to invite them to have a one-on-one chat. So you can meet them over coffee or just another Skype. You want to book that appointment in with them. Another thing you could do is arrange a 3-way call with your upline or meet with your upline. So invite your sponsor, your mentor along to the meeting with you. And this is certainly probably quite likely if you're just beginning the business, because you might want to have somebody with a bit more knowledge and also more confidence in the business of doTERRA and how much money you can actually make. You'll then want to send them some information. So in between your appointment with them, so before you meet up, send them some information to have a look at. Now there's a wealth of information out there. I like to go onto YouTube and just have a look at all the videos. There's a lot of videos. So there's one, the doTERRA Essential Oils Company intro video. So just type that into YouTube and you'll find that one. It's about 10 minutes long and it's got the leaders of the company talking and it talks about how good the essential oils are. So that's one I would recommend. The Gift of the Earth is another very good video that talks about the products and what makes doTERRA essential oils different. And then I like to send a co-impact sourcing video. And I've put here the Vetiver Haiti one, because that's one of my favorites, but there are so many different ones. So find some of your favorite videos, and then you can share that with your prospective builders. And then there are a couple of compensation plan videos, which you may consider sending somebody. Again, depending on how keen they are and what you think is going to interest them. So there's a 5-minute one on YouTube at the moment, and there's also a 13-minute one. So just have a look and find ones that you like. So you've got to the business intro, either a class, but more than likely it's a one-on-one. The main thing you're going to want to really get across is your passion. So they want to hear why you're doing the business and why it's such an amazing opportunity. They want to see the enthusiasm from you and the genuine passion that comes across. So that's really very important. So here I've said your business story. Now, you don't have to make it cheesy. It doesn't have to be scripted. But one of the tasks we're going to ask you to do at the end of this PowerPoint is to actually write down your business story, just so it's clear in your mind why you're doing doTERRA. And then you can take parts of that and share it in a very genuine and natural way when you're speaking to somebody. So I'm just going to quickly share you my business story, just to give you some ideas. So this is what I wrote down. I've always wanted to do something I'm passionate about, which is flexible hours, and I'm not dependent on a boss telling me how much I can make. I have dreamt of financial freedom without having to work all hours and be tied into a job I don't enjoy. I have done many things, business, science teacher, but have never felt fulfilled. I did nutrition, but was getting the picture I'd be lucky to earn a good income in that way. I couldn't see how this could be possible, and then I found doTERRA. Well, my mum found it through looking for a natural solution for her high blood pressure. I hated using drugs on my girls, and I started using the oils. I was quite skeptical at first, but was amazed when I saw how good they were, how they worked. I felt empowered. I thought I have to share this with others, and then I learned about the business. I then learned that if I can supplement or even replace my income, then why wouldn't I at least try? And this was 2 years ago now, and I haven't looked back. And it's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life. So that's what I kind of, I don't share it in such a scripted way like that. But I'll share part of that, part of my passion about how it's changing my life and creating financial freedom. And it's something that I'm really passionate about. Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Nathan. Now, one of the things that you'll also want to share with them is how amazing the products are. So obviously, we want everybody in the world to be able to know about doTERRA and about these amazing essential oils. Everyone needs this, and they're always going to continue to need this. They just need to be shown why and how. It's not exclusive. It's not an exclusive club. These oils have supreme quality. We all know the CPTG, and there isn't really a competitor. So the closest one is Young Living, but they don't source all of their products from their natural habitat. So the number one thing about doTERRA, which is amazing about this business opportunity, and it's one of the reasons why I came on, was because the product is extreme quality. It's the best you can get. And the products sell themselves, so there is no real sales going into it. It really is. Once you show somebody how they work, they simply love the products, as you all know. So that's the number one thing about this business. The second is the company. Now, their mission statement, they will not ever compromise on quality or integrity. And you can have a look at their mission statement on doTERRA Tools or doterra.com. And they're very, they're not about, obviously they're about making money and about finances, but that is not shown in their mission statement. Their mission statement is about caring for people and about getting these oils out to the world. And the leaders. So we've actually met David Sterling and a few of the other leaders, and you can tell from them, from their experience and their integrity, what amazing people they are. And so it's one of the other things that made me really, really fall in love with doTERRA, is that after meeting David Sterling, I was saying to Bex, that man really, really loves this business and loves the oils, and he wants to continue creating a quality product as well as a quality business. So we've got great leaders there that are not going to compromise on anything. And also doTERRA do Healing Hands, and so it's just a wonderful charity which gives back to a lot of the lands that are giving so much of their natural resources for the oils, so that we can all have them all around the world. It's also the fastest growing essential oil company in the world at the moment, and one of the fastest growing network marketing companies. It has a retention rate of 65% versus 13% in the rest of the industry. Now in Europe, however, that retention rate is actually up by 10%. So that is actually 75% in Europe. And that's down to the fact that obviously it's smaller, and the more, the first people that come on are actually a lot more committed. It's down to those reasons really. But Europe has a greater retention rate currently. Also, the company has no debt whatsoever. And that's the number one reason why businesses go under. And obviously building a business that you're going to be looking to for the future for your financial safety and income, and if you're going to be digging your trench for however long it takes for water to start running through it, then you obviously want the company not to fail. And so the company has no debt, which is a great worry off everyone's mind, or all of our minds, because it means that the company is in a great financial position. The company will also never go public. So they've made that promise that they'll never go public. So it will never be in the hands of venture capitalists or any other people that might not have the same visions as the founders do for doTERRA. And also the company is growing rapidly, and it was $1 billion company within 6 years of it starting. And last year at convention, they said that they've gone way past the $1 billion mark. Now, because it's a private company, they don't actually say how much the company is worth at the moment, but they might tell us at this convention. Now, timing. So the timing at the moment is what we've gone through in the intro to the business, but the timing is amazing. There is increasing uncertainty about healthcare. There's problems with antibiotics at the moment. There is definitely a tide of people turning to natural health and natural therapies. People are searching for those alternatives all over the place, and you've probably seen it. Some of your friends that would never have talked to you about this 5 or 6 years ago are now talking to you about it and now getting interested. So it's a great time to join doTERRA because of the growth phase. It is going to be, in the next year or two, it's an explosive point. Now, the other thing is that the compensation plan is amazing, okay? So you want to give a brief description of this when you talk to somebody when you're sharing the business, but you don't want to give them too much detail. Now, sometimes they recommend that you just talk about the FAST and the power of 3, just to give people a sample of what people can learn straight away. And then you might want to show them the average earnings. The Doterra business plan is a very competitive earnings scheme, and in some ways is better than a lot of other compensation plans out there because of the union level bonuses. And because they do it top down, so on your top level, you're getting 2%, and on your bottom levels, you're getting higher amounts. That means that you obviously get more money because you have more people on those bottom levels, which is only more beneficial for us. So that's, the number one thing for the compensation plan. And make it clear, help people to understand how to follow it. And it's also important to look at people, when you're talking to people, that they don't have to go for it, and they don't have to become presidential diamonds, or they don't have to be, earning £20,000 a month. They can either supplement, or they can just replace their income, or whatever they want to do. So they could either earn £100 just to cover their oils, or they could earn £2,000. It's up to them, and up to you to help them to achieve that. And just remember, the product is so good. It's not as hard as other companies to make good money with it, okay? Because the products sell themselves, and there's always going to be a need for them. People need these products every month, okay? Now, it's important to go over with people. They'll ask, one of the number one questions you'll get asked is, what's my investment in this? Okay, so the first investment is, and the number one investment is time. So depending on whether they want to supplement their income, or whether they want to go for it, or whether they're a sharer, it's 10 to 20 hours plus. Or if they're a sharer, then it's 5 hours or less if they want to be a sharer. So just let them know kind of, how much time do they have, and you can let them know how fast they can get places. And then it's the financial. Okay, so the startup basically is a home essentials kit, plus some sampling bottles, plus a coconut oil and a book. So you're looking at about a £270 initial outlay. And then it's a monthly financial commitment of 150 to 150 PV, which is about £80 to £130, okay, which we all know because we're all doing that every month. Okay. And it's important that when you talk to people about their investment, that it's key that we asking them to stick to that investment as much as possible. So when people are on LLP, and I would reiterate this to all of you as well, try not to spend much more than your minimum PV that you need to spend, okay, unless you really need to, because the importance of this is that you want to make a profit. And if you're spending all of your profits on products every month, then you're not going to be making a profit. And we all want you to make money, and you'll want them to make money as well. So it's key to make sure that they understand that from you, and then they also feel that you care about them, and that that you're not just out to grab their money from them. All right.
So after you've given them that brief summary of what they can earn and their earning potential, and again, remember to adapt that to the person you're talking to, then you're going to want to give them a little summary of what the business actually is. So what do they actually do when they do the Doterra business? So basically, it's the steps we've covered in the other webinars, but just briefly, I want to tell them, that it's about learning. So if I do this in a very quick way, if I was to summarize, I would tell someone that it's a great business because you get to learn as part of the business. You just learn about the oils, and then you share with others and teach classes. And that's pretty much how I sum it up if I'm doing it really briefly. And then I'll also mention to them that further down the line, when they get other builders, then they'll be involved in the leadership and the training aspects as well. Because it's really good to see how they react to that, because it helps whereabouts you're going to put them in your team as well if they do commit to being a builder. But if you want to go into a bit more detail, and some people will really like to have some more detail, then this is what I would tell them. So I'll go through the main things. So living and learning. So I'll say, first of all, you're going to want to learn about the oils. And you're going to do this from looking at your book, and there's some online resources. And I'll just briefly mention that this is something that's just coming out actually in March. So we're in March, so it should be activated very, very shortly now. So if you go onto Doterra University, there's a tab at the top that says oil drop. And this looks really good. So they're going to be giving a 30-day course, pretty much, on the oils. So you can sign up to that. Anybody can sign up to that and receive some information about the oils day by day. And they call it oil drop because they're going to do about 3-minute videos. So it's not going to take a lot of time out of someone's day, but it's going to be very good at helping people to build confidence in the products. So that's something definitely worth checking out, and then you can recommend it to others. Okay, you've also got YouTube, which has some wonderful videos, pretty much everything on there. So people can learn all about the products on that. And of course, Pinterest. Mums like to post everything on there. So there really are a lot of learning resources. And you just want to really reassure those people that are going to be coming on, there's a lot of information that they can find out there. Okay, and then of course, you're going to tell them that they're going to want to learn about the business. They're going to need to learn the basics. And I would recommend them to watch our webinars. We're going to be recording these again, by the way, making them more professional. So yes, you'll be able to recommend these webinars as the basic business outlines for your future builders. That was the purpose of doing these webinars. And then also to use Doterra University and the back office videos on Doterra University. And then of course, just to mention, they'll have an upline, and that there's other resources as well. And we've mentioned Share Success a few times. So that's a very good place for you to go and check out. And then you know what you want to recommend your builders. And then of course, a bit of personal development. So that's important just to throw in there. And then you want to explain to them that the business is mostly going to be about sharing. So once they've learnt, they're going to want to share and invite people to classes, and then that's how we educate and empower people through teaching classes. It's also good to mention one-on-ones at this stage because some people may feel a little bit daunted about classes. So you can tell them that this can be done in one-on-ones as well. And then of course the follow-up, so just to mention that after the class, you'd then follow up with someone, offer them a wellness consultation, and that's then how you find out where people want to go with this. And then just to briefly mention from that point, when you find your own builders, then you're going to want to spend some time training them and just repeating the cycle that you're going to show them. So it's a very simple business. And here is the Doterra Cycle that Nathan actually designed. So I really like this because it just simplifies that whole process. And this is basically, the Doterra Cycle is something that you just keep doing over and over, and then you'll be taking other people through this cycle over and over. And that's pretty much the Doterra business. So first of all, when you first start the business, you're going to go through this cycle for the first time. You're going to be finding. So obviously before then you're learning, but you're going to be finding, and you're going to sample, and then you're going to bring people to a class. Now, the point to mention here is that people can fall off at any stage along this cycle, and that's okay, okay? We're just there to invite, and people can come if they want to. They can join us in the cycle. So people will join us, they'll come to a class, then we'll do a wellness consultation, then those people will get onto LRP, and then we'll help them do some oils training, and some of those will then want to do business training, and they'll be developing into builders, and then they're going to lead others. And then so as soon as you find a builder, you're going to help them to find people through sampling. You're going to help them teach a class. You're going to help them do the wellness consultation, help them get people onto LRP, and then help them to encourage those people to do oils training and then to do business training. And then you're going to help your builders to train others, and so on and so forth. And you continue going round and round this cycle. Okay, over to you.
So some of the questions that you might want to ask builders is, without them knowing it, but you might want to ask them so you can put them through a little vetting process so you can kind of know how good a builder they're going to be, so you can know which positions you want to put them in. So some of you have done my training, hopefully most of you have done my training on placements and learned about holding positions. and some of you have decided that you want to do a holding position. So if you do a holding position, and you might have a volume of 3,000 under there, and then you find a builder that you think is good enough to put into that holding position and replace that person, then you want to definitely do a vetting process. And the reason you want to do that is because you're actually giving them something for kind of free to start them off. They've already almost got to elite if they've got 3,000 volume under them already. And so you're giving them a bit of a gift, giving them a leg up. So you want to make sure that that person is a very, very good person you want to put in that position. So you need to vet them. Now you need to ask these questions. Obviously you want to ask them, does this sound something like you would like to do? Obviously one of the number one questions. Then one of the key questions you want to ask, how many hours do you think you could spend a week on this to begin with in the future? And if you're going to put them in that in that key holding position, you want to actually commit them to a number of hours a week. And if they're in a good position on your front line, you ideally want them to be doing more than 15 hours a week, because that's a frontline builder.
And can I just say, I put here to begin with and in the future, because some people you meet will be amazing builders that you can see their potential, but maybe for the next few months, they can't give it that many hours because perhaps their child isn't starting school till September, say, or something. So it's good to, not rule people out if they can't commit to those hours straight away. Also listen to what they're saying, and you've got to go with that a bit as well, because I know that's worked out for us.
Yeah, no, it has. But then you also have to make sure that doesn't continue, that they're in a position they just continue not working.
Yes.
So you also ask people, can you think of people you could share the oils with? Key question, because if they can't think of anybody they can really share the oils with, then they've got quite a lot to do to get going to start off with, and that will be harder for them. Now it can be done, and it can be done quite easily, and they might have a network of people even if they can't think of people. So we've also got to remember those things as well. So they might say, well, I don't know anybody, but I have a whole nutrition course that I can talk to, and that would be quite amazing. And then you want to ask the question, can you think of any potential builders who you would like to work with? And so some of you will know key people or key friends that you think would be amazing at this. A lot of our builders, a lot of you guys have already found these people and spoke to them and gone through the process. Some of it's taken a couple of months, and you've got those key people that you love working with, your best friends, some of them working with you. I know Rebecca's got some of her best friends working with her, and she loves it. Other questions are, do you understand that although this is a great business opportunity that has the potential to make a lot of money, it does take consistent effort and will not make you rich overnight? So it's very, very good to let people know that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, so that people's expectations can be met. Some people will think, I can do this in 3 or 4 months. That's not the case. People won't be. You can earn some money in 3 or 4 months, and it can be okay, but you're not going to be getting rich from 3 or 4 months overnight. Unless you're like Haley Hobson, who does it in a year and gets rich like that. It is possible, but it's unlikely. Okay, so make sure they know what kind of what it's going to take. And do you have money to invest for the first few months is a key question as well that you might want to ask people. And also, are you happy to lead and train others as your team grows? So that's a key one for people that are going to be in your front line or your second line. These people really need to, even if they're not immediately, confident, but are willing to learn, and you think that you can get them to be confident enough to lead and train others. That's the key thing, really. So these are some questions. You might want to ask them all. Okay, this is not a definitive list, and it's not a list that you have to go through and make sure you answer every one of them. But these are some ideas of questions. And I would definitely, if you're putting someone in a key position, in a key holding position, I would commit people with some of these questions, not just woolly answers. You want people saying, yes, I commit to 15 hours a week. All right.
And that's really important point, actually, Nathan, because I think, when you first start doing this business, you're almost, let's not use the word desperate, but you're really wanting to find some people that want to do this business with you. And so you may find yourself being willing to compromise a little bit on some of these things. But from our experience, that only hits you in the long run. It comes back at you. and it's just not worth it.
Not even in the long run, it can hit you in 3 months later.
Yeah, and you'll end up doing a lot more work than what doTERRA have kind of devised. So this is moving on to the next point, really. So once you've found somebody that wants to therefore commit, and they want to be a builder, they want to be one of your main key builders, then duplication is the key. So that's why those questions are so important, because you want somebody that's going to be able to duplicate you, okay? So as we've discussed in previous trainings, you need to make yourself duplicable. So if you do have a profession, that's fine to share aspects of that, but just make sure when you teach, it's duplicable. When you share the oils, it's duplicable. So that every part of your business, you can then train someone else to do, and they can do that well, and they can pass it down to someone that they find. Yeah,
you don't want to be given too complicated a class with too much science. So for some of us, and some of the science is amazing and things like that, it's just an example. But you don't want to go into it too much, because that might put some people off and think, I can never teach all of that science. So obviously you've got to put some science in there, because that's very, very important. People understand that. But too much can obviously put people off. So it's a key to get a balance and make sure it is, duplicable.
Absolutely. So keep it simple. A really good YouTube video by Seth Risen-May, who's a very successful leader in doTERRA. He's put together a video called Buckets and Pipelines. So if you just type that into YouTube, I recommend you watching that even. It's about 30 minutes long. And he talks about how to make your business duplicable and how you're creating a pipeline rather than continuing to haul buckets. So just really helping you to create a business that's residual and that doesn't take all your time. So when you are in that position of leading, the key thing is to make sure you are doing the key activities. This is something I mention all the time to people when I'm advising them in their training, because if you're not doing those key activities, you cannot expect those that you're training to do them. So let's say you now have a confirmed sharer. So the person you've been speaking to has said, yes, this is great, I can commit to 5 hours a week. So that is what we call a sharer. So what you're going to want to do with them is to help them learn the activities as quickly as possible that will supplement their income, okay? Because as a sharer, that's what they're going to be doing. That will be the ambition, and the realistic financial plan for them is to help supplement their income. Okay, so the things they want to do quickly are to learn about these oils, to start using them, and to start sharing them. It's the same thing as for the builder, but they're going to be focusing on these activities and then teaching and then following up. So those are the main activities of a sharer. So some sharers will go and do the wellness consultations straight away, and that's what you want to try and encourage them to do, because the quicker they do that, the quicker they'll build.
It is also important to point out that just because we say 5 hours a week means that somebody's a sharer, it doesn't actually necessarily mean people aren't branded with you're a sharer or anything like that just because you're doing 5 hours a week. Somebody could be very, very effective in 5 hours a week and could be just as good as, Rebecca or myself, and they're just more effective in their 5 hours. So, it's a very good idea as to how much time people can give, but that doesn't necessarily mean that is exactly what they are. So I don't want anybody here feeling branded that they're a sharer, even though they feel like they're going for it, but can only give 5 hours a week. It doesn't mean that, okay? But it's a very good indication of what somebody can give. And they can also up it. So they can, in 6 months' time, they might be able to give 15, 20 hours a week and turn into going for a builder, okay? Or they might decide that they're going to go down a little bit and they can only do 5 hours a week for a little bit of time. So it's very, very flexible. That's the business side of it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's all a personal thing, absolutely. So you decide what you want to do, and obviously what you do, you'll get out of it. So you can change that pace at whatever time you want to, which is what often does happen, as we said. Users develop into sharers who develop into full-on builders. So there's no one stopping you from doing any of those. So you're going to want to support them through their learning and sharing. So again, for a sharer, you want to suggest that they watch the webinars and go on to doTERRA University. It's the same steps. And then you're going to want to assist in teaching their first 4 classes with a sharer. and then encourage them to teach their own classes after that. And I say first 4, actually, because with builders I say 2 to 4, and with a sharer, again, that's not written in stone. Some sharers will be very confident and they won't need that amount of support. So maybe after the first class, they'll be able to go alone with that.
Some have even done it without even been taught, haven't they? They've watched videos online.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And then you'll want to challenge them to teach 1 class a month. So that's the kind of expectation you're going to look for in a sharer. But again, it's completely up to them. They don't have to do that. And of course, you're going to want to chat to them about the enrolment. So when someone's committed to be a sharer, then they really need to be the enroller of their people they invite to a class. So it's not just them hosting a class anymore. It's actually them starting to build their own business. So they need to keep the enrolment. So moving on then, you've got somebody here that's committing to 10 to 20 hours plus a week. So more the kind of builder side of it. So you're going to want to go through some goals with them, just some simple goals, and you know, it doesn't have to be anything written down, but just to find out really what their aspirations are, so that you know how you can help them and how much energy they're going to want from you at the beginning. If they really want to go for it, then it's going to be well worth your time to just really focus on them and help them get going so they can start to fly. If they don't want to grow so quickly, then, you know, you don't want to be too pushy either. So, you know, it's getting that balance and going at their pace. So that really helps you to know when they talk about, you know, what kind of rank or average earnings they want to have and by roughly what kind of time. You're then going to want to recommend them some books for personal development. I've mentioned this a few times now, the importance of this with a business when you're really kind of, you know, you're dependent on yourself a lot. You do have a team to support you, but really your self-belief makes such a massive difference. And so there's some really good books that Doterra recommend. You may have some others that you recommend.
You're 80% on your own, aren't you? And 20% with other people being helped.
Definitely. And on a day-to-day basis, even higher really, even though you have that support there. So then you're going to want to suggest they watch the webinar training, as with a sharer, to use Share Success, if that's something you like as well, and Doterra University. And actually on that point, even if you go on to these programs, say you've looked at Share Success, and it hasn't been something that's fitted with you, it's actually very good to share that with the builders underneath you, because they might actually respond to that differently to you. They might really like that method. So it's good just to let your builders know all the resources available and let them choose. Okay, next you're going to want to share with them what the success schedule is. Now, when I share this, you've probably seen this before because it's in the Building Doterra guide that you get in the welcome pack. So you can always refer to this when you're teaching somebody else. Again, it's not in stone, but this is what has been seen as very effective to get your business really going. So what is suggested on a daily basis is that you encourage your builder to contact, not sample, but contact 2 to 3 people a day. And then to do the 30 minutes of personal development, follow up with 2 contacts or class attendees, and to use their Doterra products. So the idea is to break the business down into manageable, bite-sized pieces. So people can look at that and think, do you know what, I can do that. Or if I can't on one day, then I could perhaps contact a few more the next day. And on a weekly basis, you're going to want your builder to perhaps move towards hosting 1 class a week or doing 5 one-to-ones. Again, some people may want to go at a slower pace than this, and that's fine. But you can share this as a very good success schedule to kind of have as a background, a skeleton, or something to work towards, and then they can adjust it to however they feel, you know, is going to fit into their commitment. Another thing you're going to want to have them do on a weekly basis is to have a mentor call with their upline. So that would be you.
A mental call?
A mentor call. Hopefully not a mental call, no. So with your mentor, so with your upline. And also to share 3 to 5 samples a week. So from those contacts that you're doing every day, on those people to then be able to share 5 samples with those that can then feed those classes that you've got. So monthly, attend any trainings that there's not trainings every month, but there might be online trainings as well. So just really encourage them to attend these trainings because it helps to give a bigger picture, especially when you first start doing the business. You know, you don't have any idea about how big it is, or, you know, how many other people are doing it and what types of people are doing this. And it's just really good for that, even to kind of mingle and network with others that are doing the same business as you, who are just perhaps a bit further along. Place the LRP order, so just make sure they're aware of doing that, and then to evaluate their goals sometimes, and also to help them plan for months ahead. So when we first started, or near the beginning, a very good leader in Doterra, he suggested that we should have 3 months of classes booked ahead. Now, I didn't have anywhere near that amount when I first started. You know, I perhaps have the next month, but we try now to do about 2 to 3 months ahead, don't we? And that's really good, because then it
just
gives
about
you
got around to that, though.
Pardon?
Just about got around to that.
Yeah, so it had taken us a while, but you might be quicker. But it's good because it gives us a goal point, what to aim for, and we know we need to fill those classes. And also, when we're speaking to people, we have quite a few events we can invite people to. And it's good for us as well. It's a good security thing too. So with your new builder then, you're going to want to do your daily, weekly contact to help them through the first steps of the business. And so in these contact sessions, you're going to want to walk them through really the live and learn step that we just spoke about, to help them to write those 100 names and to suggest to them to contact their builders first. So out of those 100 names, to pull out those 20 that they think could be potential builders and to contact them first. Get to them, sample them, and invite them to a class in the hope they'll have a frontline builder from one of those 20 people. So you want to set 4 class dates with them. So you've got your new builder, set 4 class dates. So not that first month, I would do it for the second month. So give them some time to kind of break into the business and learn about it.
Find people, contact people.
Exactly. And then set 4 class dates, different times of the day, different days, so that when they're sampling and sharing, they have lots of options to invite people to. And then you as that upline, you're going to want to help to teach them, help them teach their first classes. So I've put usually 2 to 4, but as we mentioned before, some people don't need that, and some people may need the whole 4 classes. So what we do is we usually teach the first class. If I was to help a new builder, I would go along and I would completely teach the first class. I'd have them do a little oil experience to share why they're using Doterra essential oils and share one of their experiences. And then the next class, I would get them to do a chunk, and I usually get them to do the intro section. So I'd introduce the class, then they do the intro section. So what is an essential oil, that part of the class. And then the third class, I get them to do pretty much 2/3 of the class, including the intro to the class as well. So welcoming everybody and setting up for the close. And then the 4th class, I'll have them do the whole thing with me just there to kind of back them up if they need me. So by the end of those 4 classes, they should be then confident to continue doing this. Because if they're not, and if you try and rush this learning stage, for some people, if you don't stick with them for those 4 classes, then they won't be doing some other classes. They'll still be it'll be too early for them. But other people will just fly after 2 classes. So really just make sure they're confident to teach a class, because once your builder is confident to do that, then the duplication starts happening. And then you'll want to assist in their first 1 or 2 wellness consultations, Yeah, so you can do this online. If you can't get to them physically, that's fine. Or you can do it in person and have the 2 of you there doing a wellness consultation. Just again, because that's a key part of the business, and you really want them to feel confident to do that. Because if they're not, again, that duplication is not going to happen. So after that, once you've done your initial training with them, you've helped them be confident in how to sample, they know how to learn about the oils and the business, they know how to teach a class, they're confident about doing those wellness consultations and deducing who's a user, a sharer and a builder. They can get people onto LRP, all of those things. Once those things are secure, then your job then switches to more of a mentoring rather than a trainer. So at the beginning you train and you lead, and then you more become a colleague who is there to mentor, to be there with them and assist them in their journey. So with these key points, so you're going to want to help to strategize with them. So looking forward to their ranks and help them see the bigger picture and where to place people to help them achieve certain ranks. And also see if they've got a goal to become elite, for example, in 1 month, help them to know how many classes they need to teach to realistically get there, or how many classes they need their downline to teach. So it's just all about that, helping to strategize with them. The also main part is really to support, because as we said before, this business is 80% on your own, perhaps. So that support is just really, really essential. To have somebody at the end of the phone who you can call if you've had an experience that hasn't been that great for you. We just need some help with a question. Or also if they need help training their builders. So that's something you'll want to help them do.
So yeah, a lot of times it's emotional support, isn't it?
Emotional, yeah.
I do a lot.
They can see me emotional.
Yeah, well, it's mainly me that cries, isn't it? I do a lot of crying, and Rebecca's there for me. So it's good. It is important that emotional support is there for your builders.
Absolutely.
When they're going through the hard times, as well as going through the good times. Yeah,
exactly. You're with them through it all. It's a wonderful journey. You get to be with that person and support them through that whole journey. So also, when I was saying support them with training their new builders, be careful not to take too much control though either, because again, you're not making that duplicable. So you really want to assist that person and help them to become confident in all those areas. So don't take over, just help them. So I wouldn't just go and train their builder on my own. If possible, you'd have them come along with you so they feel confident and they're learning at the same time. Okay, another thing you want to do in those weekly mentoring sessions is to help answer any questions they might have, to also review their action plan or their goals from the previous week, set an action plan for the next week to help them achieve their goals, and also make a note of their classes and their goals so you're very aware and you're visualizing them throughout the week as well, just so you know what's going on in their team. And then, of course, any important reminders, any offers or any future conventions we're going to touch on in a second.
Yeah. And it's really important that you remember that what we've, over these last 10 webinars, we've taught you a lot of information and there's lots of things going on there. And especially tonight, we've kind of summoned it all up and it can be a bit overwhelming. I'll go back to square one and just say, don't worry about it. If it's a bit too overwhelming, this one, just start at the beginning or just start where it's not overwhelming and just do little baby steps. This is 2 years for us of information that we've been working on and building. And we put it into 10 webinars that we feel is going to help you. And some of these things aren't going to help you right now. All of you are at different stages. And so they're going to help you maybe later on, maybe in a couple of months or maybe even a year. Some of these trainings you'll start to kick in and think, oh, that's why I need to know that. So don't worry about it if you don't feel like you're getting it or it's too much. Try not to be overwhelmed. Just start where you know that you can start with, okay? So what we will be doing, what I'll be doing is we'll be doing future trainings, not this Monday, but next Monday, I'll be doing Elite Strategy. Okay, now this is a strategy for anybody that hasn't hit the rank of elite and that is striving to do so, okay, by that time. And what I mean by that, so it's anybody that's, a new builder that wants to try and get to elite, anybody that's nearly getting to elite and wants that final push. This is a strategy to help get you to elite. And we're going to go over numbers and we're going to go over how much money you can make on the way to get into elite so that we can hit everybody's expectations. And then we're also going to do it so that you can be held accountable, so that you're going to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, and you can set a plan, and then I'll get you to send it to me. And then hopefully by that time we can then have I've done a system whereby we can email you all individually to help you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And it's all done for you. So it's not our goals. These are your goals, how quickly you want to get to elite. Okay, so you might want to do it in a month. If you want to do it in a month, then we'll set a strategy to do that. If you want to do it in 6 months, we can set a strategy for that. So obviously it's all down to how much time you have. And then we'll be doing silver strategy the week after. So that's for any of you that have hit elite already or very close to and would like to start working on silver. Okay, so if you haven't hit elite yet, don't come to the silver strategy. The silver strategy one will be, I'll invite the people that have hit elite or are close to hitting it to the silver strategy. And then once you hit elite, you can then come to the next training on silver strategy. You want to do one at a time. You don't want to look at doing both. And then for some of you have hit silver and you'll be wanting to hit diamond and look for going towards diamond strategy. And that'll be the following Monday. We'll also be doing monthly Q&A, so questions and answers, where you can drop in and ask your questions to us every month, so you can feel like you're on our team and we're helping you as much as we can. Obviously, we don't have tons of time to do one-on-ones with everybody we'd like to, but you can come in and drop on those monthly Q&As and ask Rebecca or myself any questions that you would like to about the business. And we'll also be doing future trainings. Okay, before we cover that, we'll also be revisiting these trainings in April again. But obviously they'll be a little bit more professional.
And they'll just be recorded webinars, won't they? We're not going to do live.
Not live webinars in April. And we'll also be doing further trainings on different things. So for instance, software. So what software to use when you are wanting to do a one-on-one over the computer. So would you use Skype? Would you use Zoom? Would you use Google Hangouts? And I can take you through all of those. Also, like your contact database. Do you use Excel? Do you use a customer relationship database, which is what I use? And some of you are thinking, whoa. It's too much information, Nathan. And that's okay. But we'll be doing trainings on those things to help you overcome, your nerves with any of those problems that you might have. And if any of you have got suggestions on trainings that you would like to hear, and there's probably quite a few, then please send them to us and we'll have a look at getting those sorted in the next, couple of months, so we can train you all on what you need, so we might have missed couple of things that we need to train people on. Also, one of the other things that people have asked is how to do large and small events. So we will be covering training on how to do that, how to pay for it, how to get your builders to contribute to it, some strategies with that. Can you get products for that? What products are best? How is it best to, sell on the day, etc., etc. Do you have a contact database that you can type things into an iPad with? Yes, we do. And we can tell you where to get that stuff from and help you with it all. Some of you have questions about where you can get banners from. We can cover it from in there as well. All right. So we're doing all of that kind of stuff. Please let us know if you've got any.
Busy.
Yep. Yes, we are. And I just want to remind you of the Doterra Cycle. Okay. So remember that once you've gone through this cycle of finding, sampling, you've gone through the cycle yourself, then it's important that you start taking people through the cycle as much as you can. So, people will drop out at each stage, but it's important to get as many as you can through the whole cycle. All right. And that's how to do this business. Now, I'll hand you to Rebecca. She's got homework.
Okay. So the homework for this week is to watch that Buckets and Pipelines YouTube video I told you about on by Seth Risen-May. So just look that up on YouTube. To write your own business story. So not something that you're going to read to somebody, but write it down so that you're clear why you're doing the business. Set yourself a weekly kind of schedule. So with those daily, weekly and monthly activities that I shared in this PowerPoint, if you look at your calendar and just kind of really highlight where you're going to do the doTERRA business, that's something I strongly suggest you do, because otherwise the time won't happen. And this is a business. So even though you're working for yourself and you're doing it mostly from home, You've got to be kind of strict with yourself. If you want to be successful in this at whatever level, even if you're just doing, a couple of hours a week, even if you have those hours in your calendar, then it will happen. So if you write down the times you're going to contact, the times you're going to do a wellness consultation, your classes, your mentor call, all those things, then it will happen.
Your mentor call is really important.
And then contact your upline and ask for a weekly mentor call. So if you're not already being mentored, then it's up to you to take that responsibility and to ask for it. And then the same way, still, even though I'm saying your downline's responsible to ask you, I want you to take responsibility for both sides. Then it will definitely happen. So if you take that responsibility, then that'll help you to grow your business as well. So contact your downline and set a time for the weekly calls with them. Then I would strongly recommend that although you've watched our webinars now, we're going to re-record them, so to make them more professional, and we're going to release them again in April. We'll be doing them on a week-by-week basis again, so they'll be available for a week, but we want you to watch these so you know exactly what they're going to be like, so you can recommend them to your builders. And feel free, when we send you the link in April, to just forward that on to potential builders or people you think will benefit. Okay.
Yes, and so today, so this is something that's going to be helpful for those of you that are trying to go for it in March, April, May. The convention's coming up in Europe on June 3rd and 4th, and it's taking place in Prague. And there's a competition to get you to convention. And it runs from the 1st of March to the 30th of June. And the top prize is $2,000 in cash. You also win 1,000 product points. You get 2 convention tickets worth 165 euros each. There are unlimited places. So as long as you reach the required points, you will win this prize, okay? And the prize is not too hard to get, okay? So my mum's won this prize every year, which she put on Facebook today, and she has, and she hasn't, she's been done very, very well, but she hasn't necessarily even gone for it to win the prize. She's just done well and won the prize, okay? So how to win the prize is you need 120 points. And how to get 120 points is simple. You need to enroll people. So if you're enrolling people on a home essential kit, every time you do that, you would get 2 points. If you enroll them for something else, more than that, then you would get 3 points. And if you enroll them for kits 500 plus, then you get 4 points. And then if you get them to be doing LRP of 100 PV plus, then you get, for the second month, you'd get 2 points. For the third month they did it, you get an additional 3 points. And then the fourth month they did it, you'd get an additional 4 points. So simply put, if you did it like this, so you got Jane, Tim, you got 11 people to sign up in the month of March. Depending on what they get, you might get 2 points. Jane orders a home essential kit, so she's under 250, so she gets 2 points. So does Tim. John, however, orders over 250, so he gets you get 3 points for him. And then they all order in April, 100 PV, so you get 2 points for them all. And then they all order again in May, and then they all order again in June. You would then have yourself 124 points, and you'd win that prize. Okay, so I'm just, obviously it's not going to be perfect like that. You might have 20 or 25 people, and they're all different amount of points for each one. And you won't get them all in March. You'll get some in April, some in May, some in June. You'll enroll, but that's just simply how it works. Okay, and so if you can earn those points, you can get that prize and get to convention. And we'd highly recommend going to convention. Rebecca would.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant, and it's just another good way to see how big the company is, get the feel of the company, and you actually get to chat to the leaders as well, because the European convention is smaller than the American one. You get to go up and have face-to-face chats with Dr. Hill, David Sterling, and some other CEOs as well. And I also know that the Goddards, so they've got the biggest team in Doterra. They're going to be there on the Saturday as well to do some business training. And so is Hayley Hobson, who became Presidential Diamond in a year. So she's got some very good things, I'm sure, to share. So, there's going to be so much, and it's just brilliant. So I definitely recommend going for this.
So even if you don't want to do the competition, because some people are really turned off by the competition, you know, you can still come to convention. It'd be awesome. And if you want to do the competition, then you don't need to sign up to anything. You literally, the points will be added for whatever you do that month. doTERRA calculates it, and you can look on doterraeveryday.eu, and that will show you how many points you've got each week that it starts accruing. Okay. If you need any more questions about that, then just let us know. And also this month, to help with that, is the monthly promotion. And this month is a very, very good promotion of Deep Blue. So if you spend 200 PV, now I know I say you shouldn't spend more than, you know, 100 to 150 PV, and you don't have to. If you've got Deep Blue and you've got the Deep Blue oil, then I would say you don't need to spend at 200 PV. Okay. Now a lot of you are going to ignore me on that one, but Rebecca will, I'm sure. Huh? We've got loads of it, and she'll still play it. But yes, so if you want to, then you've got the opportunity to spend the 200 PV. And it's also great to tell new sign-ups that are going to go for a Home Essential kit. So today, the reason why I found out about this offer was I wasn't actually looking for it. We signed up someone from the fair on a Home Essential kit, and we did it the weekend. And, you know, when I signed them up today, they actually got a free Deep Blue rub and a free Deep Blue oil, which they're going to be ecstatic about because they didn't know they were going to get that. And so it's a great way, if you're trying to go for the convention, this month is a great time to try and get that convention competition, because it's much, much easier to sign people up when you've got an offer like this.
And the Deep Blue Rub is a brilliant product to be using in conjunction with this, because at classes, you know, we all generally share the Deep Blue Rub, don't we? We get them to put it on for any aches or pains. And, you know, when it's a bit of disappointment when it's not actually in the kit. So the fact they can get this as well with their intro kit is brilliant.
So yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. We'll now do questions.